What's up, everybody? It's the Roundtable Sports Podcast. Today, we're taking a look back at the top 50 plays for Alvin Kamara in his 2020 season for the New Orleans Saints. And when you watch this and you compare it to the 2019 film, it's quite clear that Alvin was not healthy in that season. He did an admirable job of playing through the injury, but you can see here when you watch Alvin that the speed returned, that the shift returned, and that he was healthy in that season. And kudos to him. It doesn't always happen that a running back gets injured and they get back to top form. So to see Alvin, play at a top 5 level like he did in this season was really heartwarming. I have a lot of different Alvin fantasy stories, so he's one of my favorite players. And of course, the speed returning was the big thing. That's what the game is predicated on, is elite speed, not only for an NFL running back, but just for an NFL player. It's not just the top end speed either. It's the way he accelerates, not only, when he's getting started, but it's just he can do it whenever. It seems like he has a gear that just other running backs don't have. You see right there, and you see it a lot throughout the film, that a defender will break down in front of him and think that they've got him lined up, and then they don't have him lined up and he leaves them in the dust. He's capable of doing that to even some of the faster people in the league and linebackers in the league. And when they try to cover him in space, whether it's tackling him or covering him on a route, they have a big time problem with that. And of course, for Alvin, it's important because it's not just the straight line speed. He's not just a track star guy. The guy is incredibly shifty and elusive as well. You can see that it's not just, hey, I'm going to run by you. It's, hey, I'm going to shift and make you rethink about where I'm going to be when you try to tackle me. And he can do it at top speed. He can, do the jump cut. He can do those little wiggles that you see in the last two plays right there. He's got all the different moves there. He's got a nice spin as well, as although he doesn't get that one out as much. So you're extremely fast, you're extremely shifty, and then you've got this vision that goes with it where he's able to create these angles and he sees these spots that he can get into that other guys just can't, and it creates longer runs, it creates more dynamic plays, and he really is the most dynamic weapon in the Saints offense. And of course, in the Saints offense, it's entirely important for Alvin to catch the ball. He has great hands, whether it's catching a check down, which of course Drew Brees was an elite check down machine, but it's not just there either. You see him catching the ball down the field, going up and getting it, showing a nice catch radius for a running back. And when he's able to get it in space like that, he is obviously as dangerous as anybody in the league. And when you're able to catch the ball like he's able to catch the ball, that helps you get out in that elite space, and that helps you have room to juke those linebackers or have room to really display that speed and get more yards for the offense. So those are the flashy parts of Alvin's game. But as you see right there, Alvin is entirely capable of running between the tackles as well. And typically guys that have as much speed and are able to catch the ball and shift and do all those things that Alvin is capable of doing like he is right there, typically they don't get to run between the tackles and they aren't as tough and aren't able to do all those things. So when the guy's in there, the defense, it kind of tips your hand to the defense because they know that, hey, this guy's going to try and get out in space. This guy's a passing threat, so they don't, guard up the middle as well. But as you can see with Alvin, he's also a tough runner up the middle as well. So he pretty much has all the different pitches that you would need from a running back to basically take what the defense gives you. And that's where you're entirely dangerous in the NFL. That's where your team wins the Super Bowl, because you can do whatever the defense is giving you because they can't take away everything. So you're going to cover Alvin on the edges, fine. He'll take it up the middle. If you're going to cover Alvin up the middle, he takes the edges. It's a, choose your poison type situation. And that's where NFL offenses really succeed. And that's something that Alvin Kamara creates for the New Orleans Saints in a big way. Now, they have Latavius Murray as well, so they don't have to bang Alvin throughout the tackles if they don't want to, because Latavius Murray is a solid NFL running back, no doubt. And he does steal a little bit of goal line work and a little bit of the work from Alvin, but goal line carries as well as between the tackle carries are where the big guys are. That's where you take the bigger hits. So it's actually good for Alvin's health that you have somebody like Latavius Murray in the mix in New Orleans. And I mean, when Latavius is able to do the things that he does, it also gives Alvin an opportunity to not have to rush back if he does get injured, because he knows Latavius can handle the load for a couple of games while Alvin gets right. Hopefully we don't have to have that, happen this year, and we get to see a lot of this from Alvin. We finally reached the stage of the video where Alvin crushes a bunch of people's fantasy dreams, as well as wins a bunch of people a bunch of fantasy titles with his big-time touchdown game. You can see the O-line throughout clearing holes. That's another thing I like about Alvin and his situation, is they're a minimum top 5 offensive line that they trot out there, and the Saints have shown that they're willing to invest in their offensive line. That's something I appreciate about the organization. Because they did that, they might have come up a little bit short in wide receiver, especially with Michael Thomas possibly missing a couple of the first weeks of the season. That may, place additional pressure on Alvin Kamara to produce, being the most dynamic weapon that the Saints possess at this time. I like some of the secondary weapons that they have, but you really need Michael Thomas over the top of that. I'm confident he'll be back, but still, there may be some opening pressure for Alvin to produce. And really, it's all on Alvin a lot this season with Jameis, with Taysom being in the mix in the quarterback position. They're really going to have to lean on Alvin, so it's a big-time year, and I have no doubts that Alvin's going to produce throughout that. I'm drafting him in the first round with confidence because of plays like that. When you see guys getting cleared out by the offensive line, when you see an offense run by Sean Payton that I think can, either make Jameis something or get something out of Taysom Hill, I think that's a big deal, and I think that's something you can lean on. That's what you want in fantasy. That's what you want in real life.